Hi, this is MD Shabana Sultana, working as Associate Professor in Chebrool Engineering College, Chebrool. In the last lecture, I explained about the galvanizing and the tinning process for the surface coating. And today I want to discuss about the electroplating and the electroless plating. The electroplating, this electroplating is also known as electrodeposition. Electro, the name itself indicates the whole process takes place by passing the electric current through the electrolytic solution. That means deposition of the coating metal on the surface of the base metal, deposition of the coating metal on the surface of the base metal by passing the electric current through the electrolytic solution is called electroplating. The coating on the surface of the base metal, or it should be coated on the non-metal also. The base metal are inferior, or it is anodic to the coating metal, and electrolyte is a solution containing the metal ion to be deposited on the base metal. For example, if you take this is the constraint of the electroplating method. In this, the cleaned base metal, it acts as a cathode. See here, this is a base metal which has to be coated. It acts as a cathode, and the coated metal acts as an anode, and the solution of the coat metal salt is taken as an electrolyte, and the electrodes are connected to the battery. See here, this cathode and anode, it is connected to the battery and pass the DC current. As soon as we pass the DC current, the electrolysis takes place and the coat metal is deposited over the base metal. So this is the base metal. This is the coated metal. This coat metal is deposited on the base metal. And the thickness of the coat metal depends upon the current density, time, temperature, and the concentration of the electrolyte. The article to be coated is subjected to solvent cleaning, and the direct current is passed through the electrolytic solution. If the anode is made up of graphite, suppose, the electrolytic salt is added continuously to maintain the proper coating metal ion concentration in the electrolyte bath. The best example for this is to coat the silver on the copper metal. This one. In this, anode is a silver, cathode is a copper, and electrolytic solution is a sodium argentocyanide solution. Coming to the applications of the electroplating, this electroplating method, it is the most important and frequently used technique in industries to produce the metallic coating. Both the metal and non-metal can be electroplated. In metal, the electroplating increases the resistance to corrosion, chemical attack, hardness, wear resistance, and surface properties. In non-metal, the electroplating increases the strength and decorate the surface of the non-metal like plastic, wood, glass, etc. Next, coming to the electroless plating, electroless. That means the deposition of the coat metal on the surface of the base metal without using the electric current. Instead of that, the whole process is to be done by using the reducing agent and complexing agents. And this process is known as electroless plating. In this process, we can coat both the metals and non-metallic compounds on the metal surface. This process is known as chemical plating, or it is also known as orthocatalytic plating. Why? Because the deposition of the core metal on the surface of the base metal takes place in the presence of a chemical, that is the reducing agent and the complexing agents, without using the electric current. So this process is known as chemical plating or orthocatalytic plating. The metallic ion are reduced to the metal with the help of reducing agent. When the metal is formed, it gets plated over the catalytic surface. The metal surface to be subjected to electroless plating is prepared by etching treatment for conducting the surface like the plastic or printed circuit boards, treatment with the stannous chloride and palladium chloride, and it gives an active surface electroplating followed by heat treatment is adapted. For nickel surface treatment of organic solvents followed by acid treatment, it is also used. The requirements, the basic requirements of the electroless plating are: it should be soluble electroactive metal in the form of metal chlorides or sulfates. The reducing agent like formaldehyde, hypophosphites are used. The complexing agents like the citrate, tartrate, and succinate can be used. Exaltant like succinate, glycinates, and fluorides to improve the rate of plating. Stabilizers which prevent the decomposition of the bark. For example, Pb plus 2, Ca plus 2, sodium pH plus 2 ions, and thiourea. And the last and not the least, the last requirement of the electroless plating is to control the pH of the bath. Buffer solutions are added. If you take the electroless plating of nickel, in this the base metal, the plastic material like acrylonitrile, butadiene, styrene can be coated with nickel. The base metal surface is activated by the stannous chloride, followed by the palladium chloride to get the layer of palladium, and on the surface is dried and dipped in the solution of nickel chloride. Or it is also used for coating an even layers of nickel phosphorus or nickel boron alloy at the surface like the metal or plastic. Before plating, the surface of the material is cleaned by applying a series of chemicals. The process involves dipping the substrate in both the bath of plating solution. And the bath of the plating solution contains the nickel sulfate solution of the nickel ion, which acts as a plating solution, and the reducing agent like hydrated sodium hypophosphite. Buffer, I already told the basic requirements for electroless plating is to be the pH of the bath should be maintained. So that for that buffer solutions was added. So to maintain the pH, the buffer solution of about 4.5 to 5 should be maintained. And the complexing agents. Here the reducing agent react with the material alone to deposit the nickel alloy. The thickness of the alloy depends on the percentage of the phosphorus. Unlike the electroplating, it is not necessary to pass an electric current through the plating solution to form a deposit. Electroless plating prevents the corrosion and can be used to manufacture the composites. Coming to the mechanism, what are the reactions take place at the anode and cathode, and what are the net reactions? Sodium phosphite react with the water and it gives rise to sodium hypophosphate with the liberation of electrons. That means anode takes place at the oxidation takes place at the anode. That electron is migrated towards the cathode and reacted with the nickel sulfate. The nickel get deposited with the formation of the sulfuric acid. This nickel sulfate, so the net reaction is these two H plus ions will nullify each other or cancel each other. And these two electrons and these two electrons will cancel each other. And the overall reaction is this one. So electroless plating is used to coat on plastic injection mount, die casting mount, glass production mount for protecting corroding parts like gears, bearings, shafts, pumps, hydraulic cylinders, ball studs, and transmission truss washer. Coming to the advantages of electroless plating over electroplating. To coat the hollow speared particles by using the electroplating is a very difficult process, but it can be done by electroless plating. And the quality of the coating layer in electroless plating is very high than electroplating. Electricity is not necessary for electroless plating. And non-metal surface like the plastic, glass, etc. are easily coated by using the electroless plating. And coming to the next topic, that is paints. The organic coatings are inert. It acts as a barrier. It is applied on the metallic surface and other constructional materials for both corrosion protection and decorations. The factors which determine the protective value of the organic surface coatings are chemical inertness to the corrosive environment, good surface adhesion, impermeability to water, salts, and gases, proper application methods. The most important organic surface coating is a paint, and the constituents of the paints and the functions. What are the main constituents? The first one is a pigment, drying oil, which is also known as the medium oil or the vehicle oil. Third one is a thinner, is another constituent which is present in the paint, dryer, fillers or extenders, plasticizers, and anti-skimming agents. Coming to the first constituent of the paint, which is a most important constituent of the paint is a pigment. Pigment is a solid and essential constituent of the paint because it is a color producing substance to the paint. And these pigments are mainly of two types. They are organic pigment and inorganic pigment. Coming to the organic pigment, the pigment which contains the hydrogen and the carbon components in its structure will come under the organic pigment. The example for this is a carbon black, which when it is present in the paint, it gives the black color to the paint. And anthraquinone is another pigment. When it is present in the paint, it gives the yellow color. Azodice, it gives the yellow, orange, and red color to the paint. And the second one is the inorganic pigments, colorants. The best example for this is a zinc, it gives a green color to the paint. Lead, it gives the yellow color to the paint. Titanium, it gives a white color to the paint. Amber brown, it gives a brown color to the paint. Ferric oxide, it gives a red color to the paint. Coming to the main characteristic of the good pigment is it must be opaque, chemically inert, non-toxic, freely mixable, and it should be cheap. The main function of the pigment is it gives a eye-pleasuring color to the paint. It covers the manufacturing defect and it gives the strength to the film and protect the film from UV light. Next, coming to the second constituent of the paint, which is known as the drying oil, or it is also known as the vehicle oil. The film forming constituent of a paint is a drying oil, or the liquid part of the paint in which the pigment is dispersed is also called the drying oil. Example, linseed oil, dehydrated castor oil, soya bean oil, and the fish oil. The main function of the drying oil is it forms a protective film by the oxidation and polymerization of the unsaturated oil chains. And it holds the other constituent of the paints, and it gives the water repellency, that is a waterproofing agent, durability, and toughness to the film. The drying oil contains number of double bonds in their structure. The film formation and the drying of the film is a major function which takes place in the following way. When the paint is applied in the form of a film, the drying oil absorbs the oxygen from the air, forming peroxides, diperoxides, and hydroperoxides at the double bond. These peroxides isomerize, polymerize, and condense to form a characteristic tough, coherent, hard, elastic, insoluble, infusible, highly cross-linked structure polymer chain, polymer film. Hence, as the number of double bond increase, the protective film forming capacity of the polymer increases. And this drying oil or the esters of the higher fatty acids. Coming to the third constituent of the paint, which is known as thinner. Thinner, when added to the paint, it reduces the viscosity of the paint so that they can easily apply to the surface. Example for the thinners are turpentine, petroleum spirit, benzene, dipentene, naphtha, xylol, kerosene. Coming to the function of the thinners, it creates a homogeneous mixture. It increases the elasticity of the film and reduces the viscosity of the paint, as already told. And they evaporate rapidly and help the drying of the film. It suspends the pigments. It helps in dissolving the drying oils and the additives. Increase the penetration power of the drying oil. Helps in drying of the paint as it evaporates easily. And next, coming to the fourth constituent, that is known as the dryer. Dryer, when it is present in the paint, it is used to increase the rate of drying of the oil film. The main function of the dryer is it acts as an oxygen carrier and it accelerates the drying of the paint film through oxidation, polymerization, and condensation. The main function of the dryer is to improve the drying quality of the oil film. Example for this is resonates or resinates, linolates, tungstates, naphthalates of lead, cobalt, manganese, and zinc. Coming to the fifth one, that is a filler. Fillers, when added to the paint, it reduces the cost and increases the strength of the paint because the fillers are having the low refractive indices materials. And the main function of these fillers or the extenders, it increases the durability of the paint. It helps to reduce the cracking of the drying paint film. And it serves to fill the voids, act as a carrier for the pigment color. The example for the fillers are barytes, which is known as the barium sulfide, talc, asbestos, gypsum, china clay, and mica. Coming to the plasticizer, the function of the plasticizer is to increase the elasticity of the film and to prevent the cracking of the film. That means this plasticizer is used to minimize its cracking of the film and to provide increases the elasticity of the film. Example, triphenyl phosphate and tributyl phosphate. And the last constant of the paint is an anti-skimming agent. The main function of the anti-skimming agent is to prevent the gelling and the skimming of the paint film. The best example for this is polyhydroxyphenol. Along with the pigments, these are the constants of the paints. Along with this, some special paints are also present. In addition to that, when it is added as a normal ingredient to some of the paints, if it is incorporated, it gives some special properties. And this type of special paints is used for some specific purpose. Those are, first one is a luminescent paint. These luminescent paints are visible in the dark. That's why it is treated as a special paint. Since it contains luminiform pigment like cadmium sulfide and the zinc sulfide, these main pigments, luminiform pigment, is used for the visibility in the dark because this pigment absorbs the light radiation and emit them in the dark. The active component in the luminous paint are specially prepared phosphorescent materials like cadmium sulfate and zinc sulfate. For color effect, in the luminous paints, certain chemicals like copper salts, which are green in color, silver salt, which are blue in color, cerium and uranium salt, which are yellow in color, are added, which gives the different colors in the dark. So they find its application in the inks, advertising signboards, road marks, road traffic signs, number plates of vehicles, watch dials, map, chat, etc. Another type of paint which are come under the special paint is known as fire retardant paint. The paint which retard the fire are called a fire retardant. This paint contains the chemicals like PVC, polyvinyl chloride, chlorinated rubber, urea formaldehyde, and carbonate pigments. which are fire resistant in nature. These substances, what are those? This polyvinyl chloride, chlorinated rubber, urea formaldehyde. So these substances at high temperature, it break down to give the non-inflammable gases like carbon dioxide, ammonia, hydrochlorides, and hydrobromics, HBr. These gases are non-combustible and they do not support the combustion. Thus, the fire is retarded. So it is mainly used for this purpose in the industrial, commercial, educational, and resident complexes, big complexes. The most frequent source of the fire in any hotel, restaurant, or residence. The walls, doors, and even the kitchen counters should be protected against the spread of the fire. False ceilings, lift, equipment rooms, aircraft safe deposit vaults, lockers, computer server rooms, power plant, chemical plants, storage tanks, or all should be painted with the help of the with fire retardant paints. Structures in the sugar mills, textile mills, and floorings are also used by fire retardant paint. Next one is the aluminum paint. This is the last type of special type of paint. The base material in the aluminum paint is a fine powder of aluminum. The ground fine powder of aluminum is suspended in either the spirit varnish, oil varnish, depending upon the environment or depending upon the requirement. When the paints are applied, the thinner evaporates and oil, if any, it undergo the oxidation and polymerization. A bright adhering film of aluminum is obtained on the painted surface. The best example for this is wooden and metallic articles for interior and exterior decorations. Coming to the advantages of the aluminum paint is, it is a good covering power. It imparts very attractive appearance to the surface. It has a very good heat resistance. It is a very good electrical resistance also. The painted film is waterproof. An electrical surface is visible even in the darkness. And it is corrosion protection for iron and the steel surface is better than all the paints. Next, coming to the last type of special paint, which is known as the distempers. Distempers are known as a water paints. They contain the chalk powder, glue and pigment dissolved in water. So they are very cheap and it can be easily applied on the walls. They are durable and give the pleasing finish to the wall. The main ingredients of the distemper are chalk powder, which is used as a whitening agent to the base metal, glue, which is used as a binder or casing, and the coloring pigment and water, which is used as a solvent or a thinner. These distempers, it is cheaper than the paints and varnishes. So it can be applied easily on the plasters and wall surfaces in the interior of the buildings, and they are durable. And it gives a smooth and pleasing finish to the walls. So this completes the corrosion chapter. And in the next lecture, I'll explain about the nanomaterials. Thank you.